Today I'm redesigning some of the most popular Pokemon. Now, one of my previous videos redesigning some of the most hated Pokemon did pretty well, so instead of just doing a part 2 and doing more Pokemon that you guys despise, I figured why not redesign some Pokemon that you guys actually already love, giving them my own unique twist. First Pokemon up is Charizard. This Pokemon is one of the most popular Pokemon. Everybody loves Charizard, and if you don't love Charizard, what the fuck are you doing? And if you say, hey, Charizard's kinda overrated, well, that's your opinion, and you know what? Opinions, fuck 'em. I don't care. Charizard is really cool. Yeah, I admit, it's not the best design in the world. He's not the best looking Pokemon there is, but if you watch the anime, like I did as a kid, he's so cool. He goes from being a dickhead to being a big lovable sweetheart, and that is the redemption story that I'm always fucking here for. And Charizard is badass, and no one can tell me or anyone else otherwise. Charizard's really fucking cool. End of story. So for this redesign, I was thinking, okay, Charizard, what's the problem with Charizard? He looks like a dragon. Now, yeah, it's fucking cool, but you look at him and you think, okay, yeah, dragon type. But joke's on you, he's not a fucking dragon type, it's a fucking lie. He's actually a fire-flying Pokemon. So that's something I really wanted to capture in the redesign. Yeah, I wanted to keep his lizard aspects, his beastly aspects, but I wanted to make it much more obvious that he was a fire and a flying type. You can kind of get the fire in his colors, but apart from having a set of wings, you really think he's a dragon type. I wanted to make him cooler, and something that I think is really cool is fuck off big claws, so I gave him fuck off big claws. The horn things on his head I made longer because bigger is better in this aspect. Instead of just giving him his normal wings, I thought I wanted to make them out of fire. Something I love is in Gen 8 when he got a Gigantamax form, his wings changed to pure fire, and I thought, that's so fucking cool, that should be in his normal design. So I put that in his normal design. There are some things in Charizard I wanted to keep, like I wanted to keep his body shape relatively the same size. I wanted to keep his eyes, I wanted to keep his little horns, I wanted to keep the flame at the end of the tail, but other things I've changed, like his mouth is more zigzaggy and he's got bigger claws and his feet are even bigger stompy claws. I play around a lot with the design, just little tweaks here and then. As I go, I kept getting more and more inspiration about what I wanted to do. And at this point, you can see I decided the spikes, no, I'm changing it. I want to make him look much more like a flying type. So I'm giving him feathers. That's right, Charizard gets fucking feathers, bitch. I really want to show that he's not just a fire type. I want to show that he's not a dragon type. So I wanted to give him feathers in his design to kind of show off his typing a lot better. And honestly, I'm pretty happy with the colors. I decided to go with a dark red instead of an orange, because to me it feels a little bit weird that Charmander goes from orange to red only to go back to orange. It feels like making Charizard a deeper red just makes more sense, since that's where the evolution line felt like it was going. I do have some orange tones, however they're in the fire instead of the main body design. I also make the sclera of the eyes yellow instead of white. I just feel like it fits a lot better. The cream color in his belly, I decided to keep that and actually make the claws the same color and include the color under his chin as well. I thought about dragging it all the way down through his neck, but I decided against it. And then I clean up the line art, play around with the fire a bit, and then do the sexy shading and the details, and here we are with the final design. There he is, there's Charizard, the fire and flying type, final evolution of the best starter in the Kanto region. Next up, it's everyone's favorite magical blue should be a psychic type dog thing, Lucario. Seriously, what is it with this Pokemon? I feel like people either absolutely love it or absolutely despise it. It's either, hey, I love Lucario, I literally have it tattooed on my ass cheeks, or hey, I hate Lucario, it's literally a piece of shit and I will beat anyone to a pulp that even says its name. There is no in between for this poor Pokemon. This Pokemon gets weird treatment, similar treatment to Lopunny and Gardevoir, and if you know what I mean, then you know what I mean. Anyway, here's my redesigned Lucario. Cute fact, Lucario was actually my favorite Pokemon for years. Ever since I saw it in its like designated movie, I was obsessed with it. I loved this Pokemon to bits and pieces. Since then, I still like Lucario, but not as much as I used to. I've kind of moved on and picked new favorites, but Lucario will always have a special place in my heart. Now, for the life of me, I've never ever been able to understand its typing. In the movie, and even in its Pokédex descriptions, it's kind of described as like a mystical Pokemon who senses people's aura, and to me that screams psychic type. But for some fucking stupid reason, they made it a fighting and a steel type. I can kinda get fighting, but I don't understand the steel type. Aside from like some little spikes it has on it that for one aren't even actually steel, that they just look like spikes that are like on its chest and its arms. It's so stupid. How does that make it a fucking steel type? You're absolutely ridiculously dumb if you think that that qualifies as making something a steel type. Fuck you, it doesn't look like one. So in this design, I make it look way more steel type. I give it some hair fuzzies, I make it look cool and badass because that's something I like to do, I guess. I keep the like pull floaty things on its arms because I think those are actually kind of cute. I keep the general body shape, I just make its tail a lot bigger and I make its chest fur a lot more fuzzy, getting inspiration from Midnight Lycanroc. Gonna be honest, that Pokemon to me is a flawless design and I wanted to make its chest fluffies and hair fluffies kind of similar because I think it makes him look really cool. Instead of giving him little spikes, I gave him some really cool gauntlets that extend past his elbows and make him look badass. And instead of just a black mask on his face, I decided to make that actually steel as well. So now he kinda looks more like a steel type. Instead of giving him the fat bauble-y things on the back of his head, I decided they look kinda cooler as ribbons. I kinda like what Sylveon has going on, so I'm stealing inspiration from that Pokemon. So it can still sense aura just with its fancy floppy feelers instead of its big baseball bat looking feelers. Seriously, what the fuck are those? Some kind of fucking magic fancy maracas? Nah, let's give him some ribbons instead, eh? So you see me coming in here with colors? I pretty much kind of ditched the yellow from its design, aside from a little bit of yellow in the eyes and on the paws. I decided to make its pink beans yellow instead. I just don't really like the yellow being in Lucario's design. I feel like using the grey for the steel, the blue to tie it into its previous evolution, and black as well. I just don't feel like the yellow is necessary. I play around with it a bit, but I decide in the end, no, fuck the yellow right off, we're not doing it. I decide to make the feelers, I'm just gonna call them feelers, I don't know what the fuck they are, the things that flop around and sense aura. I decided to fade them from blue into black because that looks pretty badass, doesn't it? Put some highlights on that steel just to show off that yes, this is metal, this isn't just randomly grey fur, okay Sandra? And then here we are with the final design. I love this version of Lucario, don't get me wrong. I still love normal Lucario, but this version of Lucario, you can actually tell it's fucking typing now. And I think he looks pretty badass, don't you? Alright, time for the next big baddie that everyone loves. Big Sky Snake, Green Edition, Rayquaza. Without a doubt, one of the most popular Pokemon. And I understand. I think Rayquaza is pretty badass. Lipstick included. So, let's see what Rayquaza would look like if I got to redesign it. Now, I start Rayquaza's redesign off with a classic noodle shape. I know I want to keep him as a really long sky themed dragon. I wasn't entirely sure what I wanted to do with this design straight off the bat. I come in with a rough head design that I do end up changing later, but it does help me get some rough ideas of what I want. The traditional Chinese dragon whiskers is something that I really wanted to incorporate in this design, since Rayquaza gives me very strong Chinese style dragon vibes, so it is something that I really did want to see in its redesign. And at this point I decided I really wanted to give it a really long mane that kind of goes all the way along its spine right down to the end of its tail. And I wanted this to kind of look like fluffy, wispy clouds. And I think Rayquaza probably has this to kind of hide itself amongst the clouds while it is soaring really high up there, trying to remain unseen and unbothered by people. So I feel like this helps it stay disguised. I decided to give it samurai style horns, purely because I just think they look pretty neat, to be honest. I end up keeping these style horns, even though I do end up changing the face design later. I keep the same kind of arms and hands that Rayquaza already has, although by this point I did already decide that I didn't just want to give them 2 arms. I decided that I actually wanted to give Rayquaza 6 arms. Now this is because my favorite video game, Okami, actually has a similar kind of dragon character that does have multiple arms, and it really works for that character. It really makes them feel more ethereal and interesting, so I wanted to also give Rayquaza that kind of experience. As you can see, I've already copied Rayquaza's original face shape, so thank you to Rayquaza for letting me use your original face. I didn't want to fix what I thought wasn't broken. I felt like Rayquaza's face shape was almost pretty perfect, although I have ditched the red lipstick. Sorry guys, even though Rayquaza is a queen, I kind of was feeling a more masculine design for this one, and I didn't really want to include the red lipstick this time. Sorry guys. I do, however, keep the sectioning, so the thick black lines in its body and its arms and fingers, I do keep that, although they are slightly more simplified now. I also included an orb between the horns that I imagine just floats between them. This to me is to represent the sun, because Rayquaza is meant to be the great protector dragon of the skies. I feel like the sun really comes into play in this. Coming in with the colors, instead of a bright deep emerald, Rayquaza is now a light kind of almost seafoam green. Link agrees that she likes the color green, as she is also green, and she wants everyone to know, yes, she approves of this color. So I come in with like a bright yellow for some of the accents. I do end up changing the tongue to red though, but can we appreciate the kind of gold tongue for like a second? I think it's pretty cool. Rayquaza's got a little goatee, which kind of fits in with the mane as well. I think that's pretty cute. And at this point, I'm changing the color of the cloud mane. Now, I know it looks pretty jarring being pink, but don't worry, it doesn't stay like this. What I'm doing is I'm making a sunrise and a sunset version of its mane, because I feel like in order to stay hidden, Rayquaza could change the look of its cloud-like mane. Perhaps this changes with the time of day. When it's sunset, it has a more sunset style kind of color set for its mane, and when it's sunrise, it does the same. It kind of mimics the colors of the clouds in a sunset and a sunrise. I just thought that would be a cool gimmick, so I included it because I got a burst of inspiration for it, so you can't stop me. Okay, so we have 3 final versions of the end design. Here is the regular one with the white mane. This is how they would normally look. Here is the sunset mane, which is probably my favorite because I love pink and I really enjoy pink being in the design. And then we have the sunrise design, which is a more muted color palette with the oranges and the yellows. What do you guys think of this new Rayquaza design? Next up is Greninja. Now this Pokemon exploded in popularity and was the #1 most popular Pokemon for a while when it came out. And I don't understand why. Honestly, to me, this Pokemon looks kinda creepy. I really hate its tongue scarf thing. Honestly, I don't get it. But anyway, here's what it would look like if I designed it. Okay, I'm starting off with the body. I'm making him round, I'm giving him a cute little face, I'm giving him his ninja stars, big eyes, his tongue is now way more normal, and now he has cute little legs. Honestly, nah, I'm just fucking with you. Alright, let's draw a serious design. Even though I'm not really big on Greninja, I feel like I can make a design that's, you know, a little bit less creepy. I don't understand why they changed the cool like foam gimmick that they were going with for the first and second stage of the Pokemon. Like Froakie and its evolution had this cute little bubble foam in its design that it used for defense and attack, and then they just kind of ditched it for Greninja. Don't kind of understand why. So instead of having the long creepy tongue that wraps around its body, I've decided to bring back the foam, baby. I'm honestly not really changing its physical body too much. Its physical body was fine. She's got thick thighs, we love thick thighs. It's got a cute little pointy tail. I keep the pointy tail. I keep the really thin arms because, I don't know, I just think they kind of match the edgy design. I give it a water shuriken between its fingers for its design because I think that looks better. I end up cleaning that up a bit here. Honestly, I'll be honest, this is probably one of my least favorite redesigns purely because I didn't really have that much vision with this one and I didn't get the burst of inspiration like I did with the other ones. Maybe it's just because it's a Pokemon I kind of just don't really like that much and I didn't really care as much to redesign this one. But I gave it a solid effort and I do like this design better than the original. It's pretty much just like Greninja remixed, okay? He kind of still looks like Greninja. He kind of looks like if... What the fuck does Froakie evolve into? I don't know, the fucking middle one. I don't know, I never picked this starter. Honestly, why would you when you have a fucking fox that you can pick? Why the fuck would you pick this thing over a fucking magic mage fox bitch? Why do people not like that Pokemon? I don't understand. It is amazing, 10 out of 10. Can't get why people don't like it. You're all fucking wrong if you pick this stupid frog over the fucking Firefox, you morons. Anyway, back to the design. He's still kind of looking like Greninja. He got his frog colors. Well, actually, frogs aren't blue. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. He got his blue colors that he had in his original design. I kept the colors the same. I just kind of switched them around a little bit. I gave him kind of, I guess, the horns now that kind of give me, they give me ninja vibes. They give me disguise vibes. So, look, I'm happy with it. Again, like I said, not the best fucking design in the world. I can own it. Like, it's not 10 out of 10. It's probably like a solid 7. Anyway, I think it's cooler than the original design. If you disagree, that's fine. You're allowed to be wrong. Anyway, here's the final design. Water Dart Greninja. It really does just exist, doesn't it? Finally, we have the mascot of Pokemon itself. The absolutely iconic electric mouse buddy friend cutie pie. Motherfucking Pikachu, yo. This Pokemon it's okay. I mean, I get it. Everyone loves it because they think of the Pokemon they grew up with. They think of watching the anime. They think of Ash. This is Ash's given partner. I have a soft spot for Pikachu, yes, because of the anime. But honestly, there are so many other Pokemon in the anime that I think have much more fun and interesting personalities and designs. Pikachu is likable, but I'm not in love with it like everyone else is. Honestly, if you had to ask me, I do think it's kind of overrated. Anyway, here's what Pikachu would look like if I was the one to design it. Okay, I was kind of thinking right off the bat, I want a cute, slim, small design. Pikachu I know is meant to be an electric mouse, but it doesn't really give off mouse vibes. It just kind of gives off cute, fat, weird creature vibes. Now I know Pikachu is slimmed down since the beginning, but like, she's still kind of pudgy, you know? I think of this being a really fast, small, slender little electric type. I wanted to put the size in its cute little pinchable thighs and its fat little pinchable face, and I wanted to leave the rest of the body being rather slender. Now I've kept the iconic cheeks. I've brought back the original stomach that old design Pikachu had. I've changed its tail to be a bit more slender. I wanted to keep the Pichu shaped ears because I honestly love these a lot better. I've added whiskers and I've put them in the cheek spots. I kind of went with the flow for this design and I'm honestly really happy with it. I play around a little bit with the design, but I quickly go back to what I had because I'm feeling like this is really solid. I decided to give it a little bit more of a love heart shaped nose in the end. I toyed with the idea of freckles, but I ended up ditching them. I want to keep some of the design that Pichu has, like the marking around the neck. The marking that are at the ends of the ears, I wanted to include that in the end of the tail as well. I feel like that ties it all together. With the colors, I wanted to keep the mostly same colors, but instead of using red, I've used orange for the cheek spots and the whiskers, and I end up actually changing the belly and the tail to orange as well. And here is the final look for Pikachu's new design. You can see in this design I've also given it some buck teeth that kind of come together looking like cute little fangs. I love this Pikachu, kind of wish this was the Pikachu we had, but at the same time I do still love original Pikachu.